world that we're in. And now we have potentially a Speaker of the House that is exactly the same, somebody that is all about power and attention and not about leadership and humanity. So I don't know what we do with this, but I know that yesterday's show gave me life. I want to figure out how we can keep this going. I want to figure out how I need to take a beat and a breath, because I realize that Monday through Friday, 3 hours a day, and for many of you, y'all listen all day, is a lot, especially for people who work. Y'all at your desk trying to listen and get work done, which we could do all things. But it's a really interesting thing that I imagine people are just listening. And if you missed yesterday's show with Dr. Daniel Black and Kevin Powell, I will invite you to listen on demand. I'm going to re-listen to it probably several times, in that I got a breakdown of, the 5 stages to get to love, love being the last stage of your growth as a human being. I'm taking notes, and it was revelatory for me as I'm trying to figure out how we get to a place where all of us can be seen and heard and valued, but more importantly, how more of us can want to be better and also know more. Like, know more real information, like read more, read more, and not just getting involved. Like I'm thinking about Louisiana electing another horrible person to lead a whole entire state, a state that came about because Haiti decided to free itself and beat back France, which then coughed up this whole territory that included Louisiana, that gave America more territory because Black people decided to be free. And I think about it now, the Ninth Ward, Katrina, and all that happened, and displacement of people, and the gerrymandering, and the jerry rigging, and the gentrification, the loss of land. And now you have a governor that's going to double down on incarceration and demonizing the Black people. And I'm just like, and less than 30% of the people showed up to even vote. And it couldn't be about, race, because it was a Black man on the ballot. So that wasn't even moving the needle. So something's going on here. And the apathy, I absolutely get. I get the apathy. Hell, I want to be apathetic every day. I get up and I'm like, I choose to to get up and do something. But there's days I just want to pull the covers, just pull the covers over and sleep. Go back to sleep. Watch TV, get a bowl of popcorn, and just like be there. Because it is a lot to consider. It's a lot to do. And I kind of feel like this audience is doing already not just your fair share. You're doing the work of maybe 5 people, 10 people, while the rest of them are following Sexy Red and all of the mumble rapping assholes. Like who's the dude that just endorsed Trump? And I was like, is this a joke? I don't even know you, sir. I don't even know. Why are you out here endorsed? Do you read? Do you even know what the political process is? I'm like, as I'm watching this Jim Jordan vote go down, I'm like, do y'all even know what Congress is doing? Do you even know that they're the reason why we have laws, and that they put forth laws and they pass laws? But you're going to put up a person that has not even put in 16 years, has not passed a single legislation, nothing. He was sent to Congress to do just that, and he has not done any of that, yet he is worthy to be the Speaker of the House. How does this work? Somebody make this make sense to me. Luckily, he did not get the votes. Smith is going to keep me posted about this. He's not going to get the votes. He's just not going to get the votes, Jim Jordan. And I'm calling him Jim, G-Y-M, because he used to be a wrestling coach, former wrestler as well. As he was being nominated today, what's her name? Stefanik. Is that how you say that, Smith? Elise Stefanik. She nominated him and then brought in the wrestling, and then you could hear people groan like, oh, y'all gonna bring in the wrestling? All right, play his nomination for Speaker today.
On behalf of the House Republican Conference, I rise today to nominate the gentleman from Ohio, Jim Jordan, as Speaker of the People's House. Jim Jordan will be We the People's Speaker for such a time as this. Our friend and colleague Jim Jordan is a patriot. He is an America First warrior who wins the toughest of fights, going after corruption and delivering accountability at the highest levels of government on behalf of we, the people.
No.
Bullshit.
Jim is the voice of the American people who have felt voiceless for far too long. Whether as judiciary chair, conservative leader, or representative for his constituents in West Central Ohio, whether on the wrestling mat or in the committee room, Jim Jordan is strategic, scrappy, tough, and principled. He is a mentor, a worker, and above all, he is a fighter. And the American people know, we know, that Jim Jordan is a winner.
Blah, 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 blah.
He said on the wrestling mat. Really? Okay. Former wrestlers have accused Jim Jordan of turning a blind eye towards sexual abuse while he was working as an assistant wrestling coach. He was an assistant wrestling coach at the University of Ohio in 1980s and 90s. So we're talking about 2 decades of him being an assistant coach. And several former wrestlers were sexually abused while by the head coach. And he not only turned a blind eye, because if you're working with the head coach, you know when something ain't right. You know when something ain't right. You know when something ain't right. Said nothing. Not only did he not stop it, he actually petitioned some of these wrestlers who were going to come forward to not come forward. Don't do this. Don't ruin his career, blah, blah, blah. So, but he's still in Congress because we have a system where you can elect anybody. If you elect them, they get to go, which is why not showing up is a vote. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you have to vote because Harriet Tubman freed. No, I'm not telling you that. I'm saying that when you don't vote, we get Jim Jordan and Donald Trump. When you don't vote, we get Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. When you don't vote, because they weren't elected because people wanted them in. They were elected because so many people sat home. So this is our country. And listen, the laws aren't perfect. The country's not perfect. But in order to form a more perfect union, you got to be involved. And voting is step 8, 9, or 10 in a 10-step plan for power, right? It's not even the best thing that you can do to empower yourself, but it's up there and you have to do it. You have to do it or not do it. And then we have now this craziness that we're sitting and watching as we're slowly heading towards another government shutdown. As the world is aflame and looking at us, we are also letting them know we are the Keystone Cops. We don't have any control over anything. We are a laughing stock right now. We look crazy as a nation. And I know some of you are like, well, that's them. No, it's you. You have an American passport? Do you have a if you don't even have a passport, then you're really an American. You're stuck here, meaning you can't even go anyplace else. You know what I'm saying? But if you have an American passport, you're an American. So we're gonna get hit with all of this. And I struggle with the we and the you and the us and the pronouns because I'm not really sure. I'm schizophrenic in my own mind in terms of my allegiance. My allegiance, of course, is to humanity, wherever it is. So that's a tough thing too, because I don't put borders around what's right. Just because there's a border here doesn't mean I'm going to stand with something that's wrong, right? Because my allegiance is to humanity first, not to this country. My allegiance is to people living in their lives and justice. My allegiance is to justice first. And I feel like we should all be on that page, because if everybody's eating and have a roof over their heads and everyone's good and they can all vote and be represented, then I feel like after that we could scrap over other things. But that should be basic. And we don't even have that. So it's an interesting conundrum that we find ourselves, those of us with half a bit of brain and a whole heart, having to defend the indefensible and having to wake up to Alicia Keys being demonized as an anti-Semitic pro-Hamas. I was like, are we really